Welcome to the Blockbusters and Birdwalks podcast. I am the curator, Garrett Chaffin-Quiray. Today we have a conversation with a friend, Ed Rosa.
That's me. Hi. My filmmaking partner and I have a YouTube channel, Toothless Richard Productions, where you can see a number of our short films.
Nature can kill us. Nature is bigger than us. But nature is also a playground where very skillful storytellers can describe wonderful things. People as meat is high on mind for me, and I like those kinds of stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the finale of Revenge of Nature.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we've put off our finale, and that is Snakes on a Plane.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane! Everybody strap in!
I can remember when this movie came out. It was a summer release in August of 2006, and that's commonly a spot where big and small studios both just kind of drop off things where they couldn't figure out where they ought to go, either because they really couldn't compete against larger blockbusters or art house material, or they were just so weird or badly pre-reviewed by journalists and the like that they didn't have much expectation that they would do well. Now, all these years later, I can say that it's a terrible movie, but it has charm.
Think of it like a roller coaster ride. Do you like roller coaster rides?
No, not really.
No. Me neither. They always make me sick.
The months prior to its release, I was a member of what I felt was a very prestigious online community. We were attached to Ain't It Cool News. You had to be invited to be on the message board because it didn't show up on the site. It was like hidden. There was like 50 of us or something like that. The membership was really thoughtfully put together, I guess, because it was tons of really smart, thoughtful people that were really passionate about film and art. That's how I became aware of this. It became a big deal on the board because we all just thought it was hilarious, like Snakes on a Plane, and like the whole story, like they were going to change the title to like The Danger of Flight 121 or something like that. But Sam Jackson personally was like, change it back. And they really cared about what people thought going into it, so much so that in one of possibly the only instances of this happening, the studio paid for reshoots 3 months after they had wrapped production to make sure that this thing got an R rating. With a PG-13 rating, you can get like one F-bomb. Well, and Samuel L. Jackson's association with the word motherfucker, it's basically his catchphrase.
You college motherfuckers think y'all run everything. You owe me some money, motherfucker! I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker. Waste the motherfuckers!
For years, I had a bad motherfucker wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, and Samuel Jackson is just so cool. And so his story is so great, too. Like the way, he's just this little bit part guy, but, he got seen by the right guy, put in the right movie, and then now he's a pop cultural icon.
Yeah.
So anyways, they're like, hey, what, you guys want to rated R Snakes on a Plane? Okay. And the studio's like, yeah, do it.
I didn't realize that it had that kind of a backstory. Regardless of my attitude and my airs about whether it's a quality entertainment, is it does make a real effort to present you with obviously graphic material.
Yeah.
You really do see the snakes attack people. You see a python consume a dog and a human. You see the sex making for the Mile High Club.
Right.
You hear a lot of language when it cuts loose.
Right.
It's kind of gnarly and impressive that way. When I must tell you, there is a story here, but Snakes on a Plane is so high concept. An aside, when I was getting my early training in film studies, there was this professor, this magic professor, who turned me on to the whole thing. And he remains like one of my favorite kind of mentor figures of all time. He had this real attitude about high concept and how terrible that is to any kind of art making or any kind of thoughtful consideration for the human condition. And I understand that. However, the good news of the high concept is in bare few words, you can pitch an entire apparatus that the world can get behind. Snakes on a Plane is fully accurate.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, when Sam Jackson's character, Agent Neville Flynn, decides he's going to pop off, that's his whole point.
Yeah.
The set for this is a jet plane with one of those double-decker first class
cool,
sections up above.
like they used to have.
The stakes of this thing are that we've got a witness to a crime. A DA from Los Angeles has been murdered in Hawaii, and the young man who saw that is being pursued by the mafioso who did the murdering. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why the snakes have been released on the plane. So the parallel action then becomes that Agent Neville Flynn, Sam Jackson, is going to escort this young man and make sure he's safe because they know that there are bad guys trying to kill him.
Right.
They are up in the first class being roped off because they want to protect this young man. And all the regular plebes are downstairs. And then the snakes slowly get loose in the cargo container. In parallel, Flynn's guy on the ground in Los Angeles, and that's Bobby Cannavale.
Oh, I thought it was Sebastian Maniscalco. I should have looked at the credits.
Special Agent Harris is trying to find a venom and snake expert somewhere out in the Mojave who likely sold all of these snakes, which in fact is the case, to figure out how to provide antivenom, presuming that the plane can magically crash land safely somewhere in California and save both the witness, his friend Flynn, and as many people on board as possible. Mm-hmm. Naturally, things go wrong because snakes on a plane.
Yep. You can't tell what they'll do, and they're just such unpredictable, deadly killers.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane!
The moment where I knew that I was in for a hoot. Once the snakes begin to be loose, they begin to attack people one by one before the crowd understands they're under threat. And a dude walks into the lavatory, unzips, talks about his massive penis.
That's my big boy.
And a snake comes up from the lav and bites him on the dong. So those reshoots really did pay off.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Well, and I noticed on this viewing too, there's a ton of shots that seem to me that they were obviously shot later of people like dying in other gruesome, like horror movie ways. Like one guy like falls off the stairs and like gets impaled on a spike or something.
So as I pushed off from this movie, I looked up David Ellis, the director, and I didn't realize what an interesting backstory he had as a stunt performer turned sometimes actor, turned like second unit director, first unit director, and then eventually a director of his own movies, including this one, of course. And he lived on to do more work, and I think he died quite unexpectedly, not as a terribly old person. I think about 13, 14 years ago now.
That's too bad.
From where right. And I think he was just at that point pressing age 60 with this established reputation of being a very good utility filmmaker and one-time behind-the-scenes guy as a stunt performer. So a lot of his movies center on unusual activity. Added to that, I was just very aware, looking at this movie and thinking about 2006, that it combines BMX racing. That's how we meet our lead,
right?
This witness. It combines kickboxing because our bad guy is a very avid kickboxer. It provides glimpses of the beautiful male body on a couple of occasions and beautiful female bodies on a couple of occasions. It tips its hat at sex and casual sex. It tips its hat at miscegenation, which I'm always interested in because that's the kind of relationship I'm involved with. It tips its hat at snakes killing people, and then using their bodies as caves in which to live.
Yeah.
It's one of those little stunt things of a snake coming out of somebody's throat.
Yep. And
then just because, I'm a sucker for intertext in the way that movies both are reflecting on what has influenced them and what they go on to influence. The back half of the movie, once Sam Jackson has kind of seized control of this, alongside Juliana Margulies, who's playing Claire Miller, on her final voyage as a stewardess because she's about to become a lawyer.
2 days to retirement.
Totally, yeah, complete overdetermination, It's almost like Lethal Weapon. I should have retired.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's Murtaugh.
Totally. And
she's Murtaugh to his rigs.
Yeah. And as they're working their way through all this, they decide they're going to barricade the sections of coach to keep the snakes on one side of all the luggage. And that's exactly what dear, beautiful Brad Pitt does in World War Z. We get point of view from the snakes. Which is green tinted, I guess, heat sensor imagery
like
or something. And it's just dumb, but it kind of creates a tension because we know that they know that we know we're looking at a snake's point of view while it's hunting somebody. But that's twinned with really interesting low angles. The way that a snake, if it were slithering along the floor of a plane. So you're seeing things from that vantage.
Yeah.
I'm always thrilled by that kind of thing. For me, the first time I ever noticed that technique was with the movie Child's Play, where you're maybe 2 feet off of the floor at the point of view of this creature, this doll that's hunting people. It's great.
Yeah.
So I like the gimmick, but it's weird that it's got this green tinted heat sensing kind of a thing.
But taking a page out of Cameron's book with the Terminator.
Right. As opposed to, that's probably right.
You're getting the HUD of the snake.
That's exactly right. These are the things the snake can say. And then you have these direct addresses of the snakes, because periodically you'll have a cobra flash up on screen. So the camera will be opposite the cobra at a foot height off of the deck of the plane, and it will flare its neck and hiss, and the tongue will come out just so. So I'm sure that was the dream of a crew of 40 different CGI artists.
Sure.
Working away their time in Marina Del Rey back in 05, 06. Let's make the raddest snake ever. It's gimmicky and sort of silly, and we're just waiting for the strike. And so, when we get that, some of the people, they even explain this for dummies like me who don't recognize what reptiles are, really.
Right.
Some of the snakes will kill you instantly. Some of them, it might take days. Some of you won't kill you at all, but you just don't know.
I actually went down an AI rabbit hole after this to find out, because I was real curious. When a rattlesnake bite is like one of the least dangerous things on there, like, you're in trouble.
Yeah. We have to have the right anti-venom to act against the venom, or we'll actually kill the victim.
Times are strange. We got a free upgrade for snakes on a plane for come, I don't care. Pop the cheap champagne, we're going down in flames. Hey, I'm ready for it. Come on, bring it.
I did not even sort of notice that Kenan Thompson is in the cast.
Yeah.
He is playing the childhood friend turned bodyguard of a second-tier rapper who's a germaphobe.
Yeah, he's Troy.
And he's the great talent. He's wonderful at a airplane simulation game, which becomes magic because he ultimately is the guy who lands the plane. Right.
Which that scene has one of the most underappreciated. Everyone always, the line, enough is enough. I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. I mean, of course, that's the Christoph Waltz, right? But the Melanie Laurent here is the follow-up line where he goes,
Left! Turn this big motherfucker left, Troy!
I remember going to see the X-Men sequel, the first one. X2?
The best one.
And I remember seeing that with my wife and my mother. The three of us go to see this movie, and my mom has this remark when it was done. I loved that the women were in charge of the jet. That they were the ones instrumental in certain escapes and certain maneuvers that made possible the success of the ensemble of men.
Right.
Who depended on these women to solve their problems. And she went on to say over the course of a dinner conversation, because it became kind of a thing for the evening, of how little of that was ever acknowledged before my generation. So for her generation to ever have a woman be in charge, to ever be successful in fiction or in life, was generally ignored when it did happen. Or not praised as something we should celebrate in an invented circumstance. That's in my mind because this movie's resolution that brings everybody to safety, plane is landed by two amateur black men who save all the whiteys on board. And there's something extraordinary and revolutionary about that idea, that those two are the very best pair of all of the other options. They are the ones who will do the job. And so when he delivers that line, I'm turning left. It's like, it's such an interesting little gag, but then it makes you reflect on who's saying it. Sam Jackson. Who is he saying it to? Kenan Thompson. And who are they? An older and a younger black performer really coming into their prominence 20 years ago, who've remained with us as prominent people ever since. So there is a way this movie brings some weight to its genre service, which it largely succeeds at achieving all the way through. I know that I don't consider this a serious movie. I know that I don't consider it very valuable. I know I think it's mostly disposable. But I also know if the right group of people come over to my house for a cookout, I'd just put it on in the garage and everybody can just come and go as you please and watch the bites.
So here's the problem, right? Like, and I found this is the problem on when you are online lots. Online tends to feel like it's the entire world.
Yeah.
When this movie was going to come out, I was like, oh my God, this thing is everything. This thing is going to be huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's always that debate. You lose viewers, you lose, customers if you go up to to an R from a PG-13, because then you say, oh, well, nobody under 17 can see this. If I had a 13-year-old son that wanted to go see rated R Snakes on a Plane, I'm taking him. But so I wasn't worried about the film's business being harmed. But for that, because I'm like, well, dude, no, everybody's talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm like, if the studio's going to actually shell out for reshoots, this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because this is in the heyday of the midnight screenings, right? When midnight screenings of new releases had become a thing. Now, you don't get a big crowd like a midnight screening. It used to be the only one, and it would sell out, and you would have this. So I was like, man, all about it. Thursday midnight, we're going to have to get there early. This is going to be huge. There was only one theater in town. Nobody was there.
This movie was not either expensive nor cheap. I clocked $33 million as its budget. That probably includes the reshoots. It barely earned that in North America. It almost doubled that in global release, which means when you put it all back to distribution and producers and you talk about the exhibitors and the share, the producers of this movie lost money.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if the reason that this didn't do well was because my internet brethren failed, or if it's that warped perception of the size of the world when you're online.
Yeah.
If that's what it is, and we did all go see it, it's just there wasn't that enough
many
of us.
of you. That earlier phrase, high concept, I used, is best applied when the stakes of production don't cost much. Because that high concept, if done cheaply, doesn't demand that a very big audience turn out. So if you and your internet brethren from that chat room and the various thousands of people that you were all connected with, who then word of mouth, their tens of thousands, if all of those people showed up, and they may have opening weekend, and turned $34 million of North American business, which is not nothing. But if the movie costs that, it is nothing. You should have put your money in a CD and watched it grow by 5% back in 2006. But if the movie had cost 1/10 of that amount, in that opening weekend, you would have made a new gold standard of great success.
Oh, yeah. Look at right now. We're seeing it right now.
Without Obsession, right?
Yeah. And Mandalorian versus Grogu. All right. They spent $300 million on that stupid movie.
And they're not making it back.
Well, and it's not good. From what I understand, the budget on Obsession was less than $1 million. And it's funny because, I don't typically go in for, if something's popular, I'm usually pretty skeptical, right? And certainly the majority of people that are watching Obsession responding to it positively aren't doing what I'm doing, where I'm sitting there going dude, this cinematographer is blowing my mind. That's been the most impressive thing about it for me is the actual, the craft of the filmmaking on display. The point is, if I'm Disney and I'm I got $300 million to spend on a movie.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I could do another middling installation of a failing IP that has literally 2 good movies, and that's it. In the entire 50 years of Star Wars, it has 2 good movies. I could do that. Or there's a blacklist out there with 50 scripts on it. They're supposed to be so good that for some reason nobody's producing. S. Craig Zoller's been on there for years.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Obsession going you know what? I think I'm going to make $301 million movies. I'm just going to pack the theaters with I'm just going to give every hungry young filmmaker with a decent idea $1 million.
Which is that concept of being under the tent pole. You need to have a studio that's making multiple risks, but one of them has to succeed to make everything still okay.
Right.
It's that creative accounting people have a problem with in Hollywood or entertainment more generally. But the fact is, if you have enough risks and you get a couple of hits, it can lift everything in an instant.
Yeah.
And if you made 300 risks and 90% of them fail, but 10% of them don't, oh my God, you would earn money.
Right.
You would earn so much money.
Right. I was even
because that's a good hit ratio, 1 out of 10.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Snakes on a Plane was not the obsession that it should have been.
And again, I do think it also has to do with the release schedule. That August pit, People don't go to the show much in August, especially 20 years ago. They're preparing to send their kids back to school.
Yeah, that's like the last week of summer. It was like August 17th or
There's
something.
a lot of competition for other activities.
Yeah.
Being outside near water, if you live by a beach or a pool or a lake or a river, I mean, you go do that stuff instead. You might do the air conditioning break. I'm in my own mind famous for doing that throughout the summer. You go to the show regardless of what it is because you want to have free air conditioning at the price of admission.
Right.
So I feel as if the release schedule for this is probably what damned it because it opened plenty wide. But my recollection, and this is just fuzzy Garrett thinking, I don't remember people coming to me the weeks after its release saying, oh, that was so good. The people who wanted to see it, I think, showed up and saw it.
Right.
And then they told their friends who also went to go see it, and that was just too small a group.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough of us to get that were in on the joke, I suppose.
The month after this was released, Jackass #2 shows up. Now that is the revenge of nature.
I think that's the one where they drink horse jizz. I think that's the one. I took my old man to see, and he just like short circuiting.
This is Blockbusters and Birdwalks, a conversation between Garrett Chaffin-Quiray and
Ed Rosa.
Boop boobity doo.